Hello, wonderful women. I'm pretty sure that most of you are sleeping by now because it's 12 p.m. here in Sydney, Australia. I normally never do live this late, but I thought it was a nice way also for me to start the week because normally at 12 o'clock is when I feel the most energized. I have this wave of energy when it comes to 5, 6 a.m. in the morning, and then once again 12 o'clock, which is why I wanted to be here at this time. So three things that I would like to say before I get started. First of all, I do apologize for my hair. It's sticky, muddy, raining, sunny outside, and there is, at the age of 42, I still haven't learned how to manage them. So if you're a curly gal like I am, and you have tried all the keratin treatment, all the straightening, and all the things under the sun, and you have come up with a solution on how to manage your curly hair to make them look presentable, just please let me know. Just comment in the section below or send me an email. And I will really, really appreciate that. Thing number two, I know that some of you haven't received the link from yesterday live. Actually, you did receive the link, but for you told me that it was broken. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna resend you the link once again today with this with the email that you're gonna receive later on about the replay. So you're gonna have 2 episodes of me, one after another. Watch Ash read. And last but not least, last week, I'm pretty sure that you've noticed that I was promoting something that I haven't promoted in a very long time. And so many of you actually signed up by Friday last week, and I have a few calls already booked in for this week. I'm not going to be able to take in more calls, unfortunately, for all of you that want to inquire about the period comeback protocol, or for all of you that were interested but missed out on the opportunity because you sat on the fence for a little too long. And I do apologize for that. And trust me when I say that I'm working really hard to find an option for you so that you can take advantage of my services, even though at the moment we are at full capacity. So if you're interested in joining us and you're happy to accept a low-level entry and then you can grow from it as you move along, leave it with me. By next week, I'm going to have the solution for you. And over the next few days, I'm going to share a couple of options for all of you that I've missed out, and I'm thinking of, they're actually looking and committed to getting support and guidance. So don't worry, I got you covered. I'm thinking of you. I love you very much. And now let's talk about exercise and recovery. So today's topic is more about the best ways to exercise in recovery. And I have to admit that yesterday I didn't do a great job in terms of describing how exercise can impact your hormones and your vitality and energy level and health, which is possibly why the link was broken, because that video was never meant to be sent out. I sometimes do believe that the universe is really wise. But having said that, yesterday, and you're gonna, if you're gonna watch me on replays, I've discussed about how iron level can be impacted when exercising. And obviously, if your iron storage or hemoglobin levels are low, you're going to feel pretty tired, depleted, and that can also stop you from getting your period. Exercise can also impact your thyroid gland. And if your thyroid gland is impacted, you're really going to feel horrible. You're really, really going to feel miserable. And if that's your case, it's better for you to get on top of it sooner rather than later. And there is a very close connection between hyperactive thyroid and hypoactive thyroid and hypothalamic amenorrhea. And so many of you, they don't even know about that because they have not, you have not properly tested yourself, because your GP or your doctor may have not asked you to do further testing. And only women that have started working with me only after months into the program, after they got the blood test results back, they've actually finally realized that one of the reasons why they were feeling so crappy and drained, low in energy, and when they were dealing with infertility and missing periods was also because of the thyroid on top of everything else. Then obviously exercise impacts your cortisol level and also how you experience stress and how you perceive stress in general. And also it impacts your ability to build up the resilience to stress. So even though you for example, you go out for a run thinking that it's going to help to manage your stress and it's like your therapy. Well, therapy is therapy, running is running. And if you don't have a period, it's definitely not going to help you to manage your anxiety level and your stress level. That's just that story that you have been telling yourself for the longest time, but actually doing the opposite and building up your resilience to stress, boosting your food intake from a supplements level so that you replenish all the micronutrients, and from a micronutrients level on top of overall energy intake, plus also implementing rest and tweaking your exercise routine. That's really what's going to help you to get your menstrual cycle back. Not to mention also mindset and accountability and community and guidance and support and following proven steps and so on and so forth. Man, I told you from the very beginning that at 12 o'clock, I just have this spike in energy level and I can sit here and speak forever. But anyway, so best ways to exercise when you're trying to get your period back, right? So the first step is to bring curiosity into your routine. So I don't want you to be judgmental. I don't want you to use your critical mind when you look at the way that you're exercising, but simply bring curiosity and honesty. So look up how much exercise you engage in on any given week. If you have to, just write it down so it's on paper, and simply be honest with yourself. Is your level of training interfering with you getting your period back or not? And if your answer is no, Claudia, I'm just doing yoga and walking, there are two things to say. First of all, for how long have you only been doing yoga and walking? So that will be question number one. And question number two, what type of yoga? How often? What type of walking? How often? For how long? So I've met people that were just doing yoga and walking, and when we start having a conversation about the amount of yoga that they did and the obsessive behaviors around their yoga training and the length of the walks, was basically they basically gave me all the informations of why they didn't get the period back. But in their brain, they were like, no, I read the book No Period, No What. They told me just to do yoga and walking, so that's what I'm doing. It's all about genetic. It's all about for how long you have been dealing with restriction and low energy availability. It's about age. It's about your level of energy in general. And it's about all the things that you have already done in your recovery journey. All of this can impact how much exercise you can actually do right now if you wanted to get your period back naturally. Now, you have been honest with yourself. You have brought curiosity into what you're currently doing. You have possibly written it down somewhere. And then you're sitting with yourself in a table, you're having a meeting with yourself. And that's the perfect moment to ask yourself, how can I take it down a notch? Do I need to take it down a notch to actually see a bleed sooner rather than later? So then after that, I can start to reintroduce exercise on a different way, with the right guidance, obviously, and also without obsessive behaviors around it. So first one is honesty and curiosity. Step two is just asking yourself, can I take it down a notch? So whatever you're doing, if you're not ready to go cold turkey, if you're not ready to simply engage in yoga and walking, for example, just see if as a first step, you can take it down a notch. So for example, if you're running 7 days out of 7, can you run 3 days out of 7? Okay. And I know that this live is very generalized, but it's obviously I offer customized advices when I see you face to face, when I know your story and your diet, your sleep quality, your level of stress and exercise routine. Right now, I'm just giving you some cookie cutter kind of explanation of what could support which kind of exercise can actually support your recovery journey. So step number four is actually introducing stuff that it's fun and is optimal for your body and your hormones. So what I mean by that, let's say that you went from running 7 days a week or swimming 7 days a week. So many women don't even make a connection that swimming is cardio, and especially if you swim for more than 30 minutes freestyle, which is that type of style, that's cardio. Okay, so if you're doing that 3 times a week thinking that you're not doing any cardio, you're actually engaging in a cardio activity. So what was I gonna say? So going back to the exercises that are most optimal for women when trying to get the period back and get pregnant, definitely walking. And walking doesn't mean hiking for 2 hours on a weekend, doesn't mean walking obsessively for an hour every day, doesn't mean counting steps. Walking can also be taking a break, a lunchtime for 50 minutes, walking around the block, getting some vitamin D, and then sitting down again. It could mean also taking your dog out for a walk and, you know, smell the flowers and simply sit in peace, sit in a bench and enjoy the surrounding. Walking can be going to the grocery shop, to the groceries, do the shopping, and then come back. You don't need to change yourself to enjoy a walk. So walking sometime doesn't mean putting on your training shoes. Walking can be simply enjoying life, moving your body without getting too attached to the amount of exercise that you do and to the length of it. Yoga, absolutely great to boost flexibility, to improve strength, to improve so many things. There are also some yoga teachers that actually say that yoga can help you to get pregnant more quickly, and to a certain extent I can see why they're stating that. But so yoga is definitely a good to go kind of activity for you to enjoy. But mind you, not Bikram, not Ashtanga, not power yoga in a hot room. Those are really stressful type of activities that are gonna make you sweat even more. So you're gonna lose, once again, iron, you're gonna lose electrolytes, you're gonna put your body in a very stressful state, your cortisol level is gonna go up, you're gonna lose energy availability, and that's not gonna be the quickest way for you to get your period back. So right now for you is about keeping in instead of giving out, all right? So yoga, except for Ashtanga, Bikram, power, and hot, they're all beautiful ways of doing yoga. And that doesn't mean only in yoga. It can also mean Iyengar, Vinyasa, Hatha, stretching. So there are so many practices that you can engage in without thinking, oh gosh, Claudia, so I cannot do anything. Just focus on the things that you can actually do and get good at instead of all the things that you cannot do. All right. And that's just a trick for your whole recovery journey. Instead of being hyper focused on what you don't have, on the scarcity mentality, just start looking around. Just notice the abundance that is already surrounding you. That's going to change your day in just a flip second. It's magical when what can happen when you start focusing on what you got already and all the things that you can do, and they are very achievable to you. Another thing that you can definitely do is Pilates. I normally say if you do it from home, just make sure that there is no cardio involved. Just keep it to a 30 minutes. If you're going to a class, normally they have the 40 to 45 minutes class. Be really mindful, speak with the teacher at the beginning of the class, let them know what you're trying to do, that your idea is to get your period back or to get pregnant, and you're just gonna keep it slow so that you don't need to be pushed and you don't need to be remembered that there is a stronger version for you to do. Something else that I just wanted to say before I forget is that instead of only taking away things from your week, start to replace them with something else or start to adding something else. So for example, if we go back to what I said in the very beginning, instead of thinking, oh, well, I cannot run 7 days out of 7, I can run only 3 days out of 7. What else can you do in the other 4 days? So maybe in the beginning, you can replace those 4 days with a walk with your dog, then with some yoga to boost your hormones, then with some Pilates, then another walk. Or maybe you can replace it with something entirely different, learning a language, learning how to sew, learning, I don't know, just going back to uni, going back to school, having a date night, having sex. Mind you, if you're trying to have a baby, having sex is always a good option, even if you don't have a period, because it's going to create that beautiful bond, a beautiful connection between you and your partner. And it's going to also increase the level of oxytocin in your body. So sex is always a good option if it's available to you. And I do understand that so many of you are suffering from painful intercourse, dyspareunia, and pain with penetration, also because of the lack of lubrication and the low level of estrogen or the low sex drive. That's going to change as you move along and once you get your period back. But for now, remember that being intimate with your partner doesn't always have to end up with penetration. Holding hands, kissing slowly, hugging each other when naked under the blanket, and just let your partner knows what you're trying to do there. So don't, otherwise you're gonna get disappointed if your partner is gonna try to have, obviously, sexual intercourse, but just let him or her know that you just wanna bring out the intimacy, that you want to work on your relationship, even though now you're struggling a bit when it comes to having enough sex hormones running around your body. And I know that I'm going down a tangent right now, but I think that's, for so many of you, it's so important to hear this kind of message, because we rarely talk about sex. We rarely talk about our sex drive, libido, and so on and so forth. All righty, so just to sum it up, and I have the notes here with me. So the first step will be to bring curiosity and honesty to what you're currently doing. The second step is to take it down a notch, just to start, just for the first 2 to 4 weeks, and see how you respond to that. The third step is to bring in something new. So if you're taking stuff out, just make sure that you also bring stuff in to your into your routine. Then think about the exercises that are the most optimal for women, which are walking, yoga, and Pilates. And we have already discussed the best ways to do yoga, Pilates, and walking. And last but not least, allow space for flexibility. It's not going to look perfect. It's not going to look perfect. Recovery is not perfect. And if you allow your critical mind to be present, you're going to feel very frustrated and defeated. And only when we let the critical thinking mind go, that's when we're going to feel great, and that's when we're going to feel successful in our recovery journey. So our critical mind doesn't always sound like, oh, I'm ashamed of myself, I haven't done great, I'm not a good person. Your critical thinking can also sound like, I should have my period back by now. I should have known how to do these things. I should know how to implement them on my own. I shouldn't have that much difficulty in letting go of my exercise routine. That shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's your critical thinking coming to play. Your critical thinking based on past experiences and based on societal expectations or moral values that could be very much outdated, right? So let go of that should, let go of the self-blaming, the self-deprecating thoughts, because realistically you are where you are and you can only work on taking the next step forward. Also, remember that there is more wisdom in your body than in your deepest philosophy. And so I'm going to say it once again, there is more wisdom in your body than in your deepest philosophy, which means that every time that you say should, you're basically switching on the critical thinking and you're suppressing your body needs. Okay, so be aware of that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm gonna be back tomorrow early in the morning, so it's gonna be 7:30 tomorrow morning. And I'm gonna talk about fertility and exercise and how you can boost your fertility with exercise. And all of you can tune in, because fertility and getting the period back, they are very similar when going through hypothalamic amenorrhea journey. And some of the things that I'm gonna say, they're gonna be very new, and some of the things that I'm gonna say, they're gonna sound very old. Doesn't matter. Sometimes it's very important to reinforce the message and listen to it 1,000 times before your brain actually kicks in and implement the changes. Last but not least, I ask all of you to comment below this video and let me know which kind of exercise you're going to focus on for the next few days, which kind of activity you're going to change, or which kind of activity you're going to be doing more of. So I really would like you to think about this. I really would like you to go back and listen to the replay of this live if you think that it's going to be beneficial for you, and to just break down your recovery journey in steps. Bring that curiosity, find your path, and also always tap in with the wisdom, innate wisdom of your body. And let me know in the comment section, what are you going to change, and what are you going to do more of, or which kind of thoughts you're having right now. This is the best way to actually tell your brain, okay, this is important, I'm going to pay attention to it. And in this way, you're going to feed the subconscious mind. And then finally, when you feed your subconscious mind with very specific messages, you are going to align with your real moral and values. So moral and values, yes, I said it correctly, and beliefs. So I'm going to be watching you. Just make sure that you comment below. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.